Okay, guys. Well, I hope you can all hear me. So I'm Graham Avery. I'm a member of the Prinect team based here in the UK, Prinect consultant, and I work on MIS, Analyze Point, Scheduler, amongst other bits and pieces. And I'm sort of specialist in the finishing area of data collection and so on. So welcome to the Scheduler overview this morning. Here's the agenda. It's just, I'm going to give you guys an overview of the scheduler. We'll take a look at some checkpoints and how we can, different scheduling methods. Look at the optimization feature, which is really based around a push to stop concept. Automatic scheduling, there is a new feature in 2020 and some automatic scheduling now takes place. I'll show you how that works. What are the requirements for the scheduler? How can we use it? How can we focus with different customers and try and get them to buy into it? And then hopefully any questions at the end. So let's go straight into it. I've got a connection to our showroom here in the UK. I hope everyone can see that. Just to give you an overview, this is the scheduler. It is obviously part of the Prinect or ProMan workflow here. It's an icon right at the end. We've got 3 panes. On the left-hand side, you'll see our list of machines, where we've got a second tab for colors, which we'll go to later. The main window here consists of a Gantt chart, which is probably familiar to most people that have seen scheduling. A Gantt chart, we've got obviously other views here, machine view, daily view, weekly view. And then down the bottom, we've got a job list pane where we can target our jobs. And I'm going to do that straight away before we go into looking at each of these windows and how they work. I'm going to, first of all, throw a few jobs on the board. And when I say a few jobs, there are here 348 operations. And I'm just going to use one of the scheduling methods, which is forward scheduling. So this is straightforward. We'll go through this window a little later on. Let's get some jobs up on the planning board so we can see a familiar view. So first of all, I'm going to activate this plan. And that will actually now set the plan in motion for any connected machines out there. We'll go through those again as part of the requirements, what machines can get connected. So currently we are looking at the standard Gantt chart. Obviously here we can zoom in and zoom out. We can run our mouse over each card and we can see there the job number, whether it's a printing element, which customer it is. And that card itself is fully configurable. So the customer can decide what elements, what information he wants to see when he runs his mouse over. When we go down to folding, we see a different option down there. So we've got folding schemes in the middle there with an 8-7. When we come across here, 16-6. So what's relevant to that machine, you can actually have that information in the card. Their current status is in bold, and again, you can change the boldness there. It's currently in a waiting state. So scroll back along a bit. This blue bar here, this line is the current time. It's 10:06, so that's going to be a good good marker for me for this morning to make sure we get everything done. So I'm going to go through some of these tabs. We have several views, and it's very flexible. So if you're trying to move a customer from their existing scheduling system, whether that's electronic version, whether that's an Excel spreadsheet version, maybe a manual planning board where T cards or little cards are being used, we have an option that can suit all. The Gantt chart is a replica of having a full manual planning board, but now automated. The machine view is also, I'll just expand the window here. The machine view is akin to an Excel spreadsheet in theory. Every column and all the views are changeable, and you can save them as usual, as you would expect in Prinect. And you can drag and drop here as well, where we can move, and hopefully down the bottom in the Gantt chart, which is also showing, you'll see the job moving around at the bottom as well. So we've got a dual aspect view here. Obviously, whatever you do here is replicated onto a press or onto a data terminal at the same time. So nice views, different ways of using the system. There is a daily view and a weekly view. Additionally, we can select more than one machine. So here in the daily view, if we said, I'll change this to presses, I can now see all of the presses in this group. Same on the machine view. Now I've got several machines. We could go down to the finishing, where we can see our 3 folders. So it's a very, very flexible tool for scheduling, and I'm sure that there's something there for every customer that's currently using a flavor of scheduling, that we could switch them to the Prinect scheduler. We can run this Gantt chart on a separate screen. So as you can see, we've got our listing at the bottom, and what I can do is I can switch this Gantt chart to a completely separate window here. So now I can put this onto a second screen. Maybe on the right-hand side, I could have my schedule view. And what you can do then is you can zoom in on the machines that you have, and you can make a nice big TV sort of view that can be used out in the factory, maybe on a large screen that people can follow. So I'm going to click this back into the system, bring my views back down so that we can view the whole system again. And I hope everyone can see that now. Okay. So what else have we got here? We can look at individual jobs. Let's take one here. So this is information on the single job at the moment, and it's got material information for the 350 gram here, which is the cover, and a 90 gram. We're looking at here business manager connections. So this isn't available in all of the guises, so it depends on how the system's driven. This system is linked directly to Business Manager, as you'd expect. So we can get material stock information directly from there. The other things that we can see down here are the number of operations that are in this job. So we've got the press, 4 color jobs here, 7 operations, none are currently finished. We've got some laminating to do, 1 operation. We've got some folding to do, 3 sheets, and we've got some stitching to do, 1 final product. And then finally down here we've got checkpoints. So we can see the current status of the checkpoints. I've got 5 paper checkpoints for 90 gram, which are okay. Which are not okay, and I've got 2 that are finished here. So we can see all of our checkpoints. We'll go through checkpoints in a while and see what they are. Additionally, we get this utilization chart where we can select a period, a week maybe, and we can see how many hours of production we have booked on each machine. Reserve time, so here on the laminator we've got some reserve time. Maintenance, so we've got some maintenance booked on both the presses here in this period. Any non-productive time, so this would be possibly weekends where we don't work, or evenings or nights if we're not working on those machines. How many hours we have free, and if there is an overload, so maybe we have too much work booked in, and we have to see how many hours extra we have and maybe make that capacity through overtime. Finally, on this view, we have an employee overlay as well. And so the Prinect scheduler takes the users from cockpit in the administration. So any machine minder or finishing operator is in here, and they can be then linked to a shift pattern. What this doesn't do, it doesn't link with the Gantt chart, and it doesn't stop you from planning. So for instance, if you don't have someone available to run a shift, if you leave this blank, it doesn't stop you from scheduling. It's more of an overview to see who you have available and who will be running the shift. So it's a second help really with your planning. Okay, so I'll now concentrate on the bottom list here. So this is our listing area, and again, these are really flexible. Every column set can be changed. Every filter area here, so these are filters. I'm filtering for jobs with scheduler in the name. The grouping option here on the left should be familiar to Prinect users, where we can drag and drop columns and group by, and then we can save our created lists in here so that we can quickly get to information that we want. So we'll just run up to the Gantt chart again there. So let's take a look at some of these things here. So I can look at jobs, of course, straight in due date. So they're already in due date order. And I can open up and drill down to more information for each job. There are some other things I've got here. So what about paper? And these here are checkpoints. So we're working with this traffic light system. We'll go through the checkpoints in a while. What about plates requirements? Things that I need to plate. Approvals. So these are all lists that I've created that as a scheduler, it's information that I need to get to very quickly. It's already filtered. What jobs have I got ready to print? So all information that I need to get on with my scheduling. And all those, as I say, bespoke and changeable. And then we have a further filter option here where this will go deeper into the filter, and we can create background filters here to not only filter for paper required, but it also switches the view instantly as well. So lots of filter options, very flexible views. I'm sure, again, there's something in there for everyone to be able to work to. So it's a big bonus over one of our major suppliers of MIS here in the UK. We're up against Thurston a lot. Their listings are particularly poor. So we really sort of hit the mark over those guys here. Go back to scheduling status. Then on the left-hand side here, obviously, we've got our machines where we can focus on single machines. We've also got our color schemes as well. So the color schemes enable us to quickly view these jobs that we have here in different colors. So do I want to see customer sales reps? Let's just make this a little bigger, and then I'll come down a bit so we can view more jobs. So now I'm viewing by customer sales reps. I can see my jobs, I can see Paul's jobs, I can see Simon's jobs. Other views we have are comments, and we have a comment here. So you can see in the comment area, Steve P will come to press pass, call when ready. So this is looking for comments, and the comment can just be simply added by double clicking onto the card, and then you can create a comment here. And it is actually only looking for the words press pass. So whatever is written around it, it's just looking here for press pass. So it highlights comments. Other things down here, we've got one here that's got must meet delivery in it. And then we've got a job here that needs to be folded, but the finishing is critical. So can we check this with Nick? So that's one of our guys on the shop floor. So again, just another view for me to quickly switch to be able to see information that I need to get to. Special colors. So again, really a great view to be able to see where your special colors are going to occur, what time of day we're going to need to wash up to. Are they grouped together well, or are we washing up and then washing up again and then washing up again? You know, this is something that you can't see with a manual planning board unless you write all of this information on. And then, of course, as you change that planning board manually throughout the day, your original plan or thought process of colors and sheet sizes has gone out the window. So this is really great for targeting these kind of things. And these are all, of course, elements of push to stop. Formats. So again, here we're going, this color is 650 by 450 in size. You can see that down here. And then here's a 720/520. And then we are 650, 460 here. This also works in the finishing area down here. And it'll work in the saddle stitch area as well. So we can see actual finished sizes as well. So 210, 297. So it works throughout all of your machines and operations. Then we've got further information, folding schemes. So maybe in the finishing area, we need to group better when we're folding. Print material, every kind of material that we're using in our schedule. So again, just really, the other thing here is plate stacks. So it works with the new plates system where we create plate stacks. And the scheduler can drive the plate stacks with the positions that we put the jobs on. Okay, so let's clear this down now and make it a little bit easier to see, because what I'd like to do is go into a little bit of detail of how we can schedule things. I'm just going to go down the bottom here, go to Control A to select all. And in this case, let's just remove everything from the planning board, activate that. Lots of speed improvements in the latest 2 versions. You can see there it's just updated 350 operations very, very quickly. In early versions from sort of Prinect 15, we did struggle with large customers that had lots of work and speed seemed a little slow. It's an awful lot quicker now, so lots of improvements been made. I'm going to go into my unscheduled jobs, and I'm going to pick a job. Go this B1, and then I've got a right-click option. So here are several of the ways of scheduling. So let's go through some of these. So we'll go through those later, but here, forward scheduling. So forward scheduling allows me to select a start date for scheduling. And this will take every element, so printing, cutting, folding, etc., and it will put them in an order. It will put the print elements front, back. We can change those here. We can also apply optimization rules at the same time. So we could do all the backs, then all the fronts. And then there's a further handling time set down here. And this really handles the gaps between each operation. So from printing to cutting, I may need, let's say, 20 minutes of time to dry. From cutting to folding, I want maybe 10 minutes of time, or from printing to folding, I might want some time for the pallet to sit before we pick it up. And these handling time sets allow us to create those gaps automatically between all of the operations. So right click and forward schedule allows us to forward schedule. The reverse scheduling does exactly what it says on the tin, from the due date backwards. So this will try and find a space on the board from the last operation, which could be binding, stitching, etc., and it'll try and fit a job in coming forwards from that due date, from that delivery date. Some other options we've got, of course, you've just seen me use the remove or delete. Another way of scheduling would be to possibly target just this individual job and then look at each element. So, for instance, if I just wanted to do the printing, I could target the printing area by saying I just want to search for XLs, and then I can see that I only have now the print elements. So by using these different filters, and again, we can drag more filters up, we can quickly get to the information we want. So if people only want to drag printing, they can drag the printing, as you can see here. We can drag the printing elements up onto the board manually. So there are several ways of planning, and so we try to be flexible, and I think that this should fit a lot of customers' requirements. So I'm going to right click, we'll forward schedule this job. We'll use some of our standard settings. And we'll just zoom in on this job a little bit. Okay, so we should see that there. So I'm going to activate this job. And at the moment, everything is in a good state. So everything is green. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and move one of these jobs forward. And as I do that, you can see that it turns red. So we've got this overlapping operations. So this means that the operations behind this are now out of sequence, out of order. So let's just activate this. And I'm going to do a refresh. Okay, so now we get some others turn red, and I'm getting this verify checkpoint paper. Let's bring this guy back here. Now, what this means to us, verify checkpoint paper, it means that our job on the planning board has reached one of our checkpoints. The checkpoint is paper. It's marked at the bottom of the card there. And what it's looking at is our current timeline of 10:24. There is a time between here that I have specified for the checkpoint paper, and that time is 6 hours. So at 10:25, and this is somewhere around 2 o'clock. That means it's now less than that 6 hours. And so as the time ticks on, these checkpoints will update and change automatically. So obviously it's a warning now that we need paper to go on, so this job can go on the press. And I can verify that by having a look in my paper list. So down the bottom here, we can see that we have some elements that are red. So this is our traffic light system, red, yellow, green. If we move this one back, we might get it to turn yellow. Yes, we do. So as you can see, the lists down the bottom are live updating lists. And I'll just drag these somewhere where we were working. And I'm going to align the operations behind that. So our paper has hit a checkpoint, and this is my list. This is my to-do list for paper, basically. I've got 7 elements from other jobs that are okay, and I can see those jobs within there. And I've got some here which are marked as blue, and these basically have not reached any checkpoints yet. So these are okay. They're not in a checking state. So what can we do about that? Well, we can clear that by going into the scheduler here manually. This is the first way of doing it. And we can tick here on the finished. So I can mark this checkpoint as okay. Green. That's one way. Another way of doing that could be through the portal. So I'll switch to my Prinect portal. So let's just take a note of that job number. It's 502286. So in the portal here, obviously you can see this is a demo portal. So we've got lots and lots of different tabs and different dashboards here. But in the checkpoints area, I have a paper required checkpoint. So I can go into here and I can see a list of all the papers required. Now, if you imagine maybe this is a guy sitting on the forklift truck at the goods inwards. He's just received a delivery of paper, and that paper could be for our job, which is 502286. So he can sit there with his tablet, 502286, and he can do a search there, and he can see this material here, and he can turn that to green by just simply clicking on that line. So I've got the 130 gram mat, got the 130 gram mat, that's okay. And let's say the B1 didn't come in, and then he can close this window, or he can delete the search field, and he can go back to his full list and maybe carry on booking in more material. So I need to activate this, and then after an activation, the material updates. So now you can see that the B1 is the only one that's left in the red, and the greens now have gone to 10 from 7. So without me having to ask a question, make a phone call, I can get people around the factory and the business to use Portal to give me information, and Portal will work with other checkpoints as well. So we can create, by the way, bespoke checkpoints as well. So we've got checkpoints that are linked to approval. So of course, our pre-press workflow, when a customer approves, the approval here will also go green. We've got production approval. So when our plate making guys get the flag to approve layout, then we'll get the production approval here. So all of these elements we can track in the scheduler, which allows us to know exactly which jobs are ready to print and when. And so all of these listings are live updating. As you just saw, it just changed again, and that's based on this current timeline. Okay, so the third way of updating paper could also be through materials management area in our MIS. So business manager, because it links directly in here, we can also do a goods inwards or goods received in the MIS, and we can update the scheduler with that information as well. Okay, so let's move on then to optimization, and time-wise not doing too bad. I'm going to go back to one of my standard listings, which is scheduling status. Again, do a Control A, and I'm just going to remove all of these jobs from here. So let's take a look at what we can offer from a push to stop point of view. Take my unscheduled jobs and do some forward scheduling. Again, I'm going to take lots and lots of them, put them on the board, and they're in a good state here at the moment. Most of them are green. There are 1 or 2 reds that I'd need to deal with. So that's the idea of this board. Again, using the colors, is that we have to deal with the red issues. Okay, so when I activate this, let's just take a look at what the system's done. And this is probably typical of any company. As a job gets ready for scheduling, the scheduler would come in, he'd drag the job, or he'd right click, and he'd put jobs on the board in certain orders. And he could use manually here his color schemes to maybe take a look at colors and see where they are. He could also take a look at his formats. When we take a look at our formats here, we can see that we are jumping around a little bit. We've got on the XL75 here some SRA2, and we're going to B2, then we're coming back here to 650, 460, and so on. And you can see from the colors that we could be just a little bit better than we actually are here. And this is probably similar when we look at the XL106, lots of format changes, and we take a look at special colors. Yeah, we've got some wash up, so we actually got a job here that we could possibly group with this one here. Maybe we take a little bit further down. There's some different wash ups down the end there as well. So we could do a little better than we've done here. So in a manual world or a non-Prinect world, now people are having to group and maybe grab several of these sections and drag them to different areas and then see what effect that's having. So now we can use a new tool that's been produced since 19, optimize the print order. So let's take a look at that. I'm just going to right click first of all on my XL75, optimize the print order, and then I'll just open the window a little bit. So in here, this sheet, this press optimizer is a really cool tool that no one else has got. And it is based around push to stop functionality and thought process. And it allows us to create our own individual optimization rules. So we can edit and create new optimization rules. We can select from existing optimization rule. We've got one there called super rule, one with Graham that looks at the width and the height and the gram and special colors, the weight of the paper. And it will order the width and the height and the grammage and so on. And then this one has a focus on due date and also on sheet width, sheet height. And what makes this really cool and easy to use is when we select the optimization tool, and I'll just maybe make the window a bit smaller so you can see in the background, you might see some things happening. But what we can do is we can decide how many hours we're going to use this or run this optimization rule for. So I'll try and grab everything that we've got. So we're looking at probably maybe 3 days here. So I'm going to put 72 hours. I can run the optimization, and you'll see in the list changes down here. You'll also see in the background that things changed very quickly. We can apply that. And just for this single press, we are now looking in a much more uniform way. That's for our colors. Now, this green option here is a reservation of machine time for a Heidelberg engineer. So we're not actually washing up there, but we have got an engineer coming to do some work for 3 hours on the machine. If we then look at our formats, again, we are in now a much better place where we're coming from 720, 725, 20, and then we're coming down to 650. So it's doing exactly as I asked. It's coming down in sheet size formats, 640, 450. And of course, the colors are all sorted as well. It's done very, very quickly. I can right click on this machine, and I'll also look at optimizing the print order on there in a very similar way, but I could choose a more focused on due date option. Again, maybe 72 hours, run the optimization and apply. And now you can see it's a lot better. The due date, of course, will have some jobs here that absolutely have to be run. So this could well be the minimum time that we need to get this job done. But by using the colors again, we could highlight that fact and maybe ask for an extension on that date. Being armed with lots of information very quickly is ultra useful in the scheduling world. So yes, we may have to change format here, but because we can clearly see it very quickly, and it's pretty obvious, if we asked our sales guy to get in touch with this customer, is there any chance that we could do something maybe a few hours behind it, a few hours late? Is it possible for us to deliver in the morning on a special van and so on? It can get us out of trouble by being armed with this information. These things are really important in scheduling. I just want to take a look at what it does to the operation colors. So obviously with the clock ticking, I need some paper for these jobs at the front. So that's okay. But there are other reds here where we have some overlapping operations. And that means that what I didn't do was in the optimization rule is match the post-press operation. So because post-press is also available here, we can try and match the post-press operations as best we can. I'll run the optimization again. It won't fix everything for us, but as you can see, how many more greens we've got straight away. Lots of things are in good position again. And again here, optimize the printer. I'm going to match the post-press, run the optimization again, and apply that. So again, we've almost tidied everything up to good green status. Yes, there are always going to be some reds where we've got some overlapping stuff, and we can actually right click and change that information down there. So what else can we do? A few things before we come to questions. External. This laminator machine here is an external machine or an external company that does all the lamination. So we can do external scheduling. You'd have to make the time correct so that it's more than the standard time to do it, but you can do external. If we do a right click, just have a look at some of the information here. We can change the colors if we want to manually highlight jobs. I can reassign machines, presses. We can split operations. This is something that's used a lot. Maybe you're going to run a long run and you want to be able to split that into two. So maybe run some this week and some next week. That's fine. You can do that with the split operation mode. We can remove gaps and clean up the scheduler. So you can see some gaps in the background here. So we can use some of these tools here. Clean up the scheduler. There's our optimizer. We can also form groups. We can do that now automatically as well with an automatic grouping of jobs and sections and sheet sizes, etc. But we can do manual form groups. We can set external production as well. And of course, we can do this set checkpoint to finished. We can also look at all the shift schedules. So every shift schedule can be set for each machine. Here we're looking at 24 hours, but we can apply different shift patterns, double days, Saturdays. So we can include overtime and we can change our schedules to suit. We use the utilization area to see how much work we have. This is a reservation here. So I have several reservations going on of time. There's some more here. So each week, there's some maintenance time reserved for the presses. This one, of course, was a one-off Heidelberg engineer. We can book jobs in that are monthly, weekly jobs. So further on, you can see these jobs here. So this is something that we do regularly every month. It's pre-planned time. It's called a periodic job. So it allows us to pre-plan time. You can see some more here, both on the Pro Matrix and on the XL75. Okay, so automatic scheduling. We'll just take a look in the presets. So obviously several things that you can do in the background there, create your calendars, organize your checkpoints and set up the checkpoints. We've got some scheduling rules set up here. So what we're trying to do in this situation is when it's being driven by an MIS, we can do automatic scheduling. It can be when it's a brochure. We can do forward or reverse scheduling. And we can select a handling time set that's relevant. We can say schedule a number of days from the current time, so 2 days in the future. We can do the print operations only. Activation, So this is active, and then we can also look at product codes that are coming in. So automatic scheduling at the moment, in this case, we've got some simple stuff. So simple brochures, digital leaflets, and gang sheets are all at the moment automatically scheduled in our system. And every time I come into this area, guys, this gets more information in. Okay, so I think 19 was the first one. 20 and 20.10, they've added a little bit more in. So they're looking to do this. And the idea would be that if we drive this with an MIS, we can get automatic jobs on the planning board in some kind of order that we're looking for. We then can simply apply one of our optimization rules to quickly put them into the order that is best run for push to stop. So it's a really good tool for working with push to stop. What about the requirements? So how can we drive this? So this is obviously driven by our MIS. We can drive by other third-party MISs, so MISs that can put in a JDF. So Business Manager, of course. In the UK, there's Tharstons. We've also got a connection with PrintViz. We could drive this with CSV. So selecting which machine it's going on. We could also drive this manually via the planning assistant. So for customers that are either non-JDF or maybe press room manager only or pro man, and they don't use JDF or CSV at the front end, we're typically in a job, a manual job maybe. There's one here that I created. We'd obviously put some standard information in here. I've got an imposition that I've created manually through Signa. The minimum requirements for using the scheduler is a delivery date. So we'd need to set a delivery date and we'd need to put a quantity in. So obviously a standard job is created like this. So we can use the planning tool. Now, it might seem like an extra step, but if anyone is using manual planning or they're using an Excel spreadsheet, someone in that business is creating times that are relevant to the machines, and that's what the planning assistant can do. I'll just run the planning assistant here. So if we look at our print elements here, we have plate size, paper size, everything you'd expect, but one quantity, no waste amounts. Same with the sheet finishing. There's nothing in here, and there's nothing in the product area. So by running the planning assistant, and it really is a quick thing to do. So first of all, we do need to put the delivery date in. So we want this delivered next Tuesday. There are 5,000. And we can go next and work through, and it works backwards. So there's a binding machine, so our saddle stitcher, so it knows that this product is saddle stitched because it's gone through Signa, and I told it was saddle stitched. It's bought in that machine. There are other options that we could use, but it's already put in the quantity. The waste that we're going to use is based on this CDM device in administration. So it's actually the standard figures that we put into these machines. Taking a make ready time and a running time. Then we can go next. Take a look at the cover. So we can see the cover has got to go on a folding machine here, but we could say it doesn't need to be folded because it's going on the stitcher, on the maybe stitching cover feeder. The 16-page section, again, you can choose which folding machine, as you can see from there. And in addition here, you can create new operations as well, before and after. So for instance, we know this needs folding, but maybe that we need to do some die cutting as well. You know, so we could do some die cutting before that or put it on the Pro Matrix. So people can create the workflow that's required for every job by using the planning assistant. The print elements here, we can see that we're going on to CSV 106 print sequence, which sends it to the XL 106 Sim1. And then finally, we've got our print material options where we can add or change the print material. In theory, I haven't actually had to change much in there, but because we've got Postpress Manager, we do have these elements, sheet finishing and binding elements. So when we click finish, you can see straight away then we get options here for sheet finishing, where we've got sheet sizes, planned amounts, planned widths, some make ready time, production time, and the same goes with our printing elements as well. So we now have lots more information in there, which now enables this job to be on the planning board. So this is 502271. We do an activate because I need to refresh the planning board. Wait for my little message. 502271. And there is our job. So it comes in as unscheduled, but now all of the elements are available to us. The printing, the folding, cutting, stitching, everything is available, and it's come from a manually created job. And actually the time taken to do that, I don't believe that there's an argument, because I've done planning with an Excel spreadsheet, I've done it manually with T-card systems, and I've also done it with big planning boards, manual planning boards. And someone somewhere is writing this information down or typing it in. And I believe that the planning assistant is a really good aid to that. Okay, so we now sort of come to the end of my demo. My look into the scheduler. I'm going to switch us back. So we've gone through automatic scheduling. One thing that I haven't been able to do so far, though, I have to say, is I haven't been able to find a way of automatically scheduling manual jobs. Okay, even though I do have in the presets, I do have a product type selected of stitched for this job, it doesn't seem to automatically plan when it's active. But you know, you still be able to use the benefits of optimizing the print order once all your jobs are on the board. So even in a manual environment, don't dismiss the scheduler. It can be used, and it should be shown to as many customers as we can show it to. I think with this optimization and the words push to stop together, that should be really exciting to a lot of customers. Okay, so let's open things back up. So I don't know whether anyone can hear me now, but
can hear you again. Yeah.
Can anyone speak? Yeah, you. There we are. We're all.
Can hear you. Can hear you. Can hear you.
We're all back on. Guys, any questions? Please ask away. I've done really well. It's now, well, we've got about 8 minutes to go, so spot on stuff. Is there anything you want me to show you, or?
No, all good, thank you.
I think it was really excellent, Graham. Really, really well done, and a good presentation through the. It can look very complicated and complex, that scheduler thing, but the importance of being able to schedule or do scheduling in a print shop, it's one of my biggest thing is actually when you talk to customers is to discuss with them if they do have a scheduling strategy, and they all say yeah we do have a scheduling strategy, and when you ask them what is that is, they all say, well, we deliver at the delivery date, but that is not a real scheduling strategy. and the performance of the machines are so different for those who actually do schedule accordingly to what the equipment, how the equipment works instead of when they should be delivering. I did send a link, I think, through the chat to the Prinect white paper, who also describes the hierarchy of a scheduling strategy, which is sheet size, paper weight, in coverage, folding layout, and then delivery date. And it's very important to understand that hierarchy in order to get the best way to do scheduling. I don't really want to steal the thunder, but could I steal the screen for 1 second maybe to get you guys into Sales 4.0? I think all of you know what that is, at least the guys in sales, and they should also have access to it. This is our big data pool that we collect from presses that we do have online with service contracts all around the world. And this is a random Swedish customer. Let me just drag in to see their OEE. It's like, let me take a trend here instead. You can see this is a pretty average OEE customer in Sweden, Denmark. They did increase. I'm looking at 6 months here. And they're coming up from 25% to around 35%, which is pretty okay. What I really want to show you is that if I look into make ready times, which is something where scheduling really can make a difference. So the blue line is where we actually have unchanged paper formats. And the red line here is the average make ready time where they do have format changes. So you can see the difference here. Let me just take March. So we're looking at data from 1 month only. So it's nearly doubled the time where they in make ready when they have to change the format of the press. And when you go in and discuss with customers and we talk about push to stop and optimization, and we look at the OEE saying, well, yeah, you do around 30%, and they have a really hard time to find additional benefits and additional ways to improve that OEE. Take a discussion with them, maybe use some of the big data, because a difference between, so it's nearly doubled the make ready time from 8 minutes to 15 minutes. And if we look into the format changes where they really had to do the format changes. So this what we're looking at right now is the day, still the month production by day. And you can see on the 3rd of March, they did 2 paper format changes, and they could have worked with it if they did the right scheduling with 1 format change. And if you look into other dates here, if you look on the 18th, they did 6 format changes, but they, in theory, if they did schedule their jobs correct, they could have done this with only 4 format changes. You get the thought here? And this is data we already have available. We should just be looking into our big data before we actually go into the customers and discuss this scheduling strategy with them and say, guys, how can we assist you to improve your performance? We have the data available for many of our customers, and we can show them this is something that you can do easily with a scheduler.
Yeah. Excellent. I think those reports are fantastic, Jakob. I think I know we only looked at it briefly last week, but the information is it's devastating to some people. We could really move with that data, really open eyes, using that, and then using a demo that can show them how easy they can overcome those issues.
Yeah, I think often customers do not know where to improve or how to improve. They are working as they used to be working, but with a proof of where they are and where we potentially can take them. So it's a no-brainer to show that just in March, they could have saved, I don't know, 50 times 8 minutes, and they actually get all these minutes for free. So we free up time where they can do additional production. And I think that is some of our goals in Push to Stop.
Yeah, I also think we should use some of these philosophies of changing what you're doing, especially in the next few months with what's currently happening to us all sitting here today, cooped up, but we are evolving and changing. We're doing stuff here that we've not done before, We're taking the opportunity to improve everyone's knowledge and thoughts around these processes and the products that we have. And we should use that on our customers, because they also will be very open at the moment to change and to rethinking what they currently do.
Correct. Agreed.
Okay, any more questions, guys?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
Hi, Graham.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Not met you yet, Asanda, but I know of you, and I've heard of your exploits. Please ask a question.
So on the periodic jobs, I believe a periodic job is a skeleton job. So we have a customer who's actually asked questions around that. So my question is, do we not need to have any data of some sort pertaining to the job, like a quantity and the type of paper that is going to be needed for the job? Or can we just create a periodic job without knowing anything about the job, except the fact that on this day, at the specific date and time, we're going to get a job?
Yes.
Is there nothing else that we need?
No, there isn't. No, you can create periodic jobs from another job or from an existing job. We can create a periodic job here. So I'm actually clicking on a job and then saying create a periodic job.
Yes.
But we have two options. One is manual, where it's a new job.
Graham,
So
can you show your screen? Share your screen, Graham. Yes, please.
Sorry. 1 second. Okay, everyone see?
Yes.
Okay, so I select a job in the scheduler, and then I can right click and we have create a periodic job. Now, because I have to select a job that's in there, when I get the dialog for creating a periodic job, I have two options here. New job, where I can actually just say, this is my new job. And I can put a customer in if I want to, put some comments in. And I can say, I need 3 hours on my Excel and some cutting time and so on. And I can add the elements that I want to and say, okay, and this will create a standard periodic job that doesn't have any material content to it and so on. It's just time that would be able to book onto the board. Alternatively, we have this option where we can say copy the selected job. Again, I can give it a name, but this will copy all of the elements from that job. So all of the folding, the cutting, the times, etc., will be copied from that job. Okay, so it's a simple thing. Create a new job here. We'll call it new job. And I think we should be able to find that by looking for hash.
Yep, below that.
Here's our new job. I only have one sheet with some printing and some cutting, which I selected with my times and durations. And then from there on, of course, you can forward schedule this, and you can also generate a schedule sequence as well. So if you have, this is maybe a weekly or a monthly, bi-monthly, you can create a sequence for that. So you could put this on every week and the system will do that automatically for you. Okay, so yeah, you can use that. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. It does.
Good.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Anyone else? Okay, well. Yeah.
Sorry, Graham. It's Tom.
Oh.
Just very quickly, is there something that operators should avoid to stop jobs coming off the scheduler? You know, when the job's scheduled and then it gets sort of lost in space.
Yeah, this is something we've been suffering with for a long time now, and that is when jobs are, particularly jobs that are JDF, When jobs are planned on the planning board, it's possible if the job is edited, particularly on the imposition side of things, where maybe the imposition has come through and they're not happy with it, and they go and make some changes to that. If they keep the standard job structure, and that is they have, for instance, a cover and 2 text sections, if they keep that structure, then there shouldn't be any issues with changing gutters and spaces. If they change that structure, that's where the issue will occur. So if they change the structure and they put something like they add extra pages in, as soon as that structure is changed, then the scheduler will think, okay, I used to have a cover and 2 text sections. Now I've got a cover and 3 text sections. What do I do? And it literally takes that job off the board. So we've created different options. So we know that customers can use these placeholder. So they can use a placeholder job now, which means that when a job comes in, it actually creates a hash job, and that job is planned. That job is held on the board until the pre-press guys have done their job. When the pre-press guys have completed their corrections to bad information, then you can substitute the original job for that placeholder job. For me, it's double the work. The ultimate goal is that we need to get it right at the start. So if customers are sending in jobs that are not in the correct format, they don't have the right number of pages and things like that, then they need to address that issue. And that can be done at the output stage of the job bag. So we've always talked to people about not using the same methods that they used to, and that is they used to do an estimate, get the job, and then they turn it straight into a job and let everyone else fix it afterwards. But now it needs to be fixed up front if you're going to use JDF. And I mean, if there are any specific issues, give me a shout and we'll have a look together remotely and see if we can spot what's going on. But it's generally caused by people editing the job.
Thanks, Graham. Cheers.
Okay, mate.
Tom, do you get many calls in about the scheduler?
Yeah, we do get calls in. Quite often they get sort of sent on at the moment. But yeah, that's been a flavour at the moment. Jobs that fall off the scheduler. So
a little flurry of calls, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So who do we have in the team who we can call scheduler specialists? You obviously, Graham. Martin Weberg in Sweden, I know, is also excellent. Palle in Denmark is also good. Who else is?
We have Asanda, of course. She is currently learning this system. Oh no.
Picking up. So we do have people who can definitely assist both in the discussions and trainings, optimization, and as you say, this part of the product, this part of ProMan is definitely moving. They are constantly changing and adding functionality to the scheduler.
Yeah. We recently took one of the UK customers with ProMan onto the scheduler, Acorn, and they are only using the press schedule at the moment, as far as I'm aware, but I don't think we get any calls from those guys, do we, Tom? I think they are really rocking and rolling well with it.
Yeah, I don't think we've had any calls from the scheduler,
No. So I know they were getting on well with it. They wanted to use it straight away. Yeah, so I mean, if anyone needs to talk to me about projects, about customers, about their scheduling strategy, by all means, drop me an email and we can have a chat on the phone and try and bring in some more customers into the scheduler.
Perfect.
Excellent.
If there are no other questions, I just want to wrap up here because I think there's a little slightly changes to the schedule for these trainings. And by the way, it's really exciting to see how many people and colleagues who's joining for these small trainings. I think we were 49 today who joined. I know that for the UK, people are put on furlough. Denmark, Sweden, we have lockdown. I think that's the same situation in South Africa. So really appreciate those of you who has the possibility to join us. Tomorrow, there is a training from Dave, or an introduction from Dave Naylor, who want to show us how he pitches Prinect. So prior to Prinect demonstrations, he has like an overview. He go through step by step. Really, really beneficial for all of us, I guess. Thursday, there was meant to be a training on DFE, Prinect DFE, by Matt Every. That will be rescheduled. The training on Thursday. And we also had a session on Friday, which was supposed to be working with escalations in SAP and Heidelberg Assistant. That will be slightly changed since Bob is on furlough, and we will then take but Paul Chamberlain, he will step in and take his place and do a Heidelberg Assistant introduction. I know that many of you have already seen it, but I think it's worthwhile to spend another half an hour to see the onboarding process and which benefits Heidelberg Assistant will bring. And then at the end of that, as a connection little story, I think Tom will show what would a call, how does it look like when the call is raised or a ticket is raised through Heidelberg Assistant, and we receive it internally. What do we do with those calls, and how do we treat them? Is that all right? I guess.
Jakob, just to remind everybody, my presentation tomorrow is at 3 p.m.
Yeah, I didn't mention. I didn't say any times, so because I know there are time differences, but I think everybody is invited already. I just invited the Danish team as well. Okay. So, any questions to these things? Anything we should improve, by the way, or is this working? I see all the people are giving credits to the presenters and praises them. I think that is excellent. Are there any things that we should do to change it, or does this just work as it is?
No, it's fine. It's good.
Well, so far it's very good. Yeah.
I'm happy with it as long as we've got recordings. I had to break off for a little while in the middle to assist a customer, but other than that, yeah, good.
Good. Fantastic, everybody. And thanks very much, Graham. Good stuff. Well done.
Yes, Graham. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you, Graham.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.